Okay, guys, so I have a debate right now, and this is my own thoughts, this is my own opinion, right? So, pardon me. Okay, as someone who was born and brought up in a village, I know many of you don't know. Yeah, many people didn't know that. I was born and brought up in a village. In fact, the first 19 or 20 years of my life was there in the village. And that is one of the things I want to debate. Growing up in the village, as at 15, 20 years ago, uh, was better than growing up in the city. Yeah, so the debate is growing up in the village is better than growing up in the city. And I'm talking 20, 15 years ago when there was no telephone. Now, this is my point. Village has the power to imbibe culture in you naturally. Now, let's take the culture of greeting, for instance. You dare not walk past an elderly person in the village without greeting the person. Yes, that's one of my points. That village has the power to imbibe culture and respect in you by default. Because like I said, living in the village back then, you walk past an elderly person and you don't greet, they can flog you on the spot, right? Or go straight to your parents to report you that your child doesn't greet people. Because back then, greeting is one of the ways that we know those people who are still insane. So once you start disrespecting people, as it were, right? You walk past an elderly person and you don't greet, you are already tagged a kind of a rebel, or which word should I use? Yes, I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. So they already know that this one is going left. So they will have to correct you, they have to discipline you. Another is respect for elders. You can't be seated in a meeting or in a group and an elderly person walking and you are still sitting. You dare not. Naturally, village will teach you that once an elderly person walked in, the next you have to do is to stand up so that an elder will sit down. That is culture. So that's one of my points. The second point is community parenting. It goes with culture, right? Back then, you when you see a child misbehaving, you have the right to caution, to discipline, to flog that child without the parents' permission. And when I went to the village, like I shared the other time, one of the teachers was telling us how she used to discipline one of our students, and the mother came to school to appreciate her for flogging the daughter, for disciplining the daughter. So there is this community parenting that we enjoyed in those days. And of course, I'm talking of 15, 20 years ago. That's one of my points again. Another point is discipline. Yes, village lifestyle will discipline you naturally. I give you an example. Growing up, you go to school from Monday to Friday, and you are to support your parents in the farming activities, right? On Saturday, sometimes on Sunday. And so that's the only time you have to help them. And we used to play funny games there, right? Where you've already planned your Saturday with your friends, and you wake up in the morning, you want to now lie that you are not feeling well so that you will not go to the farm with them. And one of the things is they will tell you, you don't need to do anything in the farm. Just follow us to the farm, and you dare not say no, right? So, and coming to the city, this is fast forward right now. I began to find out that this is exactly what I particularly is using to build a business, which everyone can relate. That in building a business, it's not about feelings, right? It's not about how you how you are feeling. So it's more like it gives you that culture of turning up. You wake up, you have to turn up, regardless of how you are feeling. So when back then that we were trying to form that we were sick, so that they will relieve us from going to the farm, they will discipline you and you have no option than to follow. So that's one of my points again. Discipline. By default, a lot of things that happens in the village back then is discipline oriented, and a huge point. Another point for me is hunger for success. Yes, growing up in the village, we naturally place an hunger for success because we want to now migrate to the city, right? And it will already give us a drive. We're not just leaving village to come to the city to sit down. Because I remember back then, when you sleep till 7 o'clock, another discipline. They usually tell you that you are living Oyibo lifestyle because it is expected naturally by 6 o'clock you are up your bed. You dare not. Another discipline that is helping us in life today, that you wake up early. Because we have the mindset that it's those people that are in the city that we sleep, most especially on Saturday, till 9 a.m. You dare not now, right? So that is exactly what I'm saying. The place of discipline. Naturally, village will give it to you. Now, hunger for success. I use myself again as a case study. My father was a teacher, and I enjoyed that privilege of being called one teacher, the son of a teacher. And that helps me in fact, it helped me a lot, right? Because when I walked into a place, when I introduce myself, I have a backup. Once I say one teacher and I call my father's name, everybody can connect. Yes, my father did very well to give us a good name. Everyone can connect to that notion. And so coming to the city, right, a larger community, and living what I was enjoying in the village, the privilege, the recognition, and I'm not coming to a city, where everyone is hustling, as it were. So one of the things I told myself is that I will not be missing in the crowd. And so it already imbibed in me that same thing I was enjoying in the village, where something will have to introduce me. And of course, today now, once you say Watchmaster and there's a connection, right? That hunger for success was from the village. So I didn't just come to the city to sit. We have a mission, we have an agenda that we are here to succeed. And that is what village placed in us, the hunger for success. You can't take it away from us. And when you think back, even as back as 50 years, you will see that the wealthiest men have this same roots, this same track record of coming from the city. You can hear Oyedepo, Adeboye, they will tell you there was no light in their village. And you can compare right now. That's exactly what I'm saying. Hunger for success. Which, another point, is drive. Drive and focus. Village will give you this culture of drive, this culture of focus, because already there was little distraction. I'm talking about when there was no handset, when there was no technology, there was no television. We could count how many persons in the village that have television in their house. Many of you can connect to that. So there was little distractions on us. So once you have a little focus, you will achieve more growing up in the village, because there was little distraction, that focus, that natural drive, because there was no much distraction. But of course, today we can see a huge difference, right? Because just like as they call it, a global village, the world now is a global village just by this device in our hand. You can see there's a switch of culture already. What is happening in the city is replicated in the village by virtue of this device in our hand. And so I want to believe that with these few points of mine, I've been able to convince you, and not to confuse you, that 15, 20 years ago, growing up in the village is or was better than growing up in the city. And you can see my point. I hope you keep your own view. This is my own view, and I believe many of you are already convinced. Many of you can connect to that. All right, thank you. Cheers. See you.